More people are going to create their dream wildlife job in the next few years than they have in all of human history. Wildlife vacancies are absurdly competitive. But if professional success for you means working with wildlife, if you do what other successful people do, if you just don't quit, you eventually get the job. The Practical Animal Channel is a platform for interviews for ambitious naturalists. It documents professional wildlife workers' rise to success, providing a career roadmap. Watch this video for an excellent summary of what it takes to work with large carnivores in a war zone. So, if career success for you means working both in the wild and in captivity with bears and wolves, how do you get there? Dr Maryna Shkvyria is co-owner of White Rock Bear Shelter and project coordinator of Save Wild in Ukraine. For over 20 years, Maryna has researched and worked on large carnivores, teaching and speaking about them. She earned her BSc from the International Solomon University and did a master's at the National Academy of Sciences in Ukraine. Her PhD title is Distribution, Ecology and Behavioural Features of the Wolf in Ukraine. If you're learning English as a second language, this video will be useful because you will hear two accents, a British and a Ukrainian one. And before we go any further, I would like to say thank you to my subscribers. Without you, there would be no channel. Working with large carnivores and living the wildlife looks like this. What jobs are there with large carnivores in Ukraine, both in captivity and the wild?
If you are interested to be zoologist, to be ecologist, of course you need to go to the university, and maybe later you need to get your PhD and work in different research projects. Zoo technician, it's mainly for people who work for farms, for zoos, to become a caretaker in zoo or in a sanctuary. So you don't need a special education in this case, but of course you need some years to get experience you need. With academic way, it's more or less understandable situation because it's the same topic in every country in the world. But if you are volunteer or if you just, I don't know, you have no education, but you can go work in really good sanctuaries or zoo. And of course, in Ukraine, I would advise all people before they start to work in this sphere to learn a little bit about it, to ask a lot of people, not choose the first shelter or zoo in your region, but to get more information about what is the aim of zoos, what is the aim of sanctuaries.
Maryna, what do you do?
As a project coordinator of Save Wild, I'm responsible actually for direction. I'm responsible for animal welfare in a sanctuary. So it's a welfare, enrichment, training, social net, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, you can't avoid it. I'm really not good in it, but I want to develop this sphere of our work as educational platform, not only beautiful videos and photos.
Do you do your job for personal satisfaction, professional recognition, or for the money?
I really loved research. It's super cool when you can be involved in reintroduction projects, for example. and you can collaborate with different colleagues from all over the world, and you can release wild animals to the wild about different small endangered species. I have, it's a negative motivation because I can say that I'm so fell in love to have sanctuary or to keep bears. No, I hate to see bears in cages. That's my negative motivation. It's not about money, unfortunately, and it's not very ambitious for me as a researcher, as for doctor, but it helps me to change something in my country. And I really hope that these small steps will be useful in future.
Maryna, how did your career develop?
It was classical academical way. So I got my university diploma as a biologist, my PhD to the Kiev Zoological Park of national importance, where I'm a lead zoologist. And I still continue on working with research institutions, reintroduction projects, and some research projects in the wild with different species of animals. Save Wild Foundation, it's a little bit another thing because me and my husband and my partner and my colleague, we used our already well-developed research careers as an expertise to start this sanctuary and working with rehabilitation. Because if you have this experience, if you know how to do a snow tracking of wolf in the forest, if you can find and see the den of bear, if you know the problems about and all questions about conflict, human and predator, if you know the whole picture in your country, what is the problem with conservation? What is the problem with conflict between humans and predator? What is the problem with the blind spot in our knowledge? You can develop your sanctuary knowing everything. So you have the aim, not just to rescue several animals, but to be the part of conservation system for the species.
So you work with large carnivores, both in the wild and in captivity. What are the different skills that you need for those different situations, Maryna?
Of course, it's really big difference because if you work in field, for example, we spent many years in Chernobyl exclusion zone. So you need to be physical active. You need to know a landscape methodics like using of photo traps. Also know research methodics. Yes, how to collect, how to use method, how to analyze your materials, how to prepare a publication for review. If you work with captive animals, you also need to understand what is the aim of captivity. It's rehabilitation, or it's a breeding program, or it's educational direction. What is animal biological needs, and you can use your experience in the field for it. What you can offer for nutrition changes maybe. How you need to design enclosures. So it's really good bonus and life hack to be a scientist before you start help animals. For me, as for co-owner, I would like to see interest and people who are ready to be educated, people who are ready to develop. Of course, in Ukraine, it's not so easy to get this experience. So the main point is really to be a little bit open-minded and also not to be, too enthusiastic, because it's still really dangerous animals for people. And of course, safety is first. And I prefer maybe not so enthusiastic person who just want to know standards and who can come back to his home at night and be healthy and alive, than person who love animals so much that want to go inside enclosure. So
for new people, volunteers, students, interns coming to your sanctuary for the first time to begin a period of work, what skills do you find that they most need to develop?
now we don't have volunteer or internship program in a sanctuary. We are a small sanctuary, and we have the system how we work with our future caretakers. So when people start, and we prepare all documentation, and also he got or she got all instructions. And of course, we need all signs in a lot of different journals. So when all these official issues are finished, we start training. We work with a new person and try to show everything, how to work with constructions, how to work with bears, how to prepare food. And also we have some small, not like seminars, like briefings, a special micro conference for our staff to remind him what is our aim.
In general, Maryna, how is the war and politics affecting your work?
It's a physical, dangerous every day. In 2022, we were on front line. We evacuated all our animals to another sanctuary in the western part of Ukraine and later come back with them. It was really dangerous, and I think it was not fully due to standards because it was extreme situation. We thought that we were well prepared, but not. You cannot predict all issues, and you cannot predict the scale of war in modern world. Roads are closed. Now we are in more or less safe region. We are near Kiev, but of course it's still missiles and drone attacks almost every night or every several nights. And of course, war is an economical problem.
How would you describe bear and wolf conservation in Ukraine today? And what would you like to see happen in the next 5 years?
There are two different points, because bear is endangered species and it's a Ukrainian red list. So we cannot hunt on bears, and theoretically it's endangered and very well protected species. Wolf is a hunting species, and there are almost no restrictions to kill wolves in Ukraine. The main problem with a bear is damage of landscape. It's erosion of landscape. If our population, so small now, only several hundreds of bears, will be isolated, I think our future is really bad. On our north part of Ukraine, last 15 years, bears start migration from Russian Federation to Ukraine. But war began. It's a lot of mining fields, it's fences, it's military actions, and I don't think that we have good chances now, unfortunately. So who knows? But war, it's a really problem for ecological corridors. With wolves, it's another situation, because the main problem with wolf, it's a human-predator conflict. It's a competition with commercial hunting, because there is no tolerance from hunters and from hunting economies to the wolf presence. We need to work in this sphere and to educate people. Fortunately, we have good density of wolf. It's not so vulnerable species in Ukraine, and we can try to find this balance.
Where do our knowledge gaps lie with regards to both bear and wolf conservation in Ukraine?
It's easier to say what we know about this species. We still don't know enough about models for population, ecological issues, modeling how these new anthropogenic factors can make influence on population. We still need to develop our standards and especially our veterinary. We have not so many veterinarians who have expertise.
Can you suggest a research topic?
How to implement our field knowledge about wild nature to animal welfare standards in captivity. Because usually people have a lot of traditions in sanctuaries, in zoos, and they know a lot about their diet, about their behavior in captivity, but they don't use enough our knowledge from the nature. And it's really good topic for students, for PhD students to work with these questions, to compare database, to compare diet, to especially diets. Yes, nutritional questions is a huge topic, very complicated topic, but very interesting for scientists. And also we need to understand much more about their social structure, because we group animals artificially in sanctuary, and we also can use this research in captivity for animals, for wild population, because sometimes we can see in captivity much more something new. The main idea of our sanctuary, and I hope for all sanctuary, is to get new knowledge and to use this knowledge. There is, it's good to rescue several animals, but there is no sense for population. It's good when you use your knowledge as a part of database, when you can share it with your colleagues, because you never know, maybe someone 10 years later will use your data.
Maryna, are there any books on bear and wolf and other large carnivore conservation issues in Ukraine so that people interested in this can read more?
Yeah, I'm a co-author of a huge monograph. We are several authors who worked a lot in the field, and we combined all our results of our field research and also a little bit in captivity. And we published several years, maybe 10 years ago, a huge monograph about all conservation issues of brown bear in Ukraine. Historical dynamic of population, new ecological data, problems with conservation, human-predator conflict, diet in nature. I hope it's a good book for experts, for scientists, but also for people who are interested in this topic. It's in Ukrainian, but with English abstract for every chapter.
Maryna, are there any conferences in Ukraine on large carnivore conservation and rehabilitation?
In Ukraine, there are not so many conferences. We only start this process. We already had several conferences for rehabilitation centers, and it was not for students, but for people who already work with animals. So now I would advise Ukrainian students to visit European conferences.
What advice can you offer new entrants into large carnivore bear and wolf rehabilitation in Ukraine?
I would advise to be prepared for our European future and to get knowledge about legislation, about standards, and about international experience now. When you are young, when you are still have time, when you have possibilities and open borders.
Maryna, You are the project coordinator at Save Wild in Ukraine, apart from many other positions and achievements. Thank you so much for being on the Practical Animal channel. Dr Maryna Shkvyria.
Thank you.